Lives Tiffel-Toffel in his red currant bush. He is always busy tidying up and keeping clean. Ain't quite near to Tiffel-Toffel. On a tiny stone live his two best friends, Cricket, who is green, and Beetle who is blue. If there's a problem or if something is wrong, no need to worry about a thing, for Tiffel-Toffel can invent a machine that fixes everything. The friends have fun together, playing every day. So come and join us for an adventure, the life around a red currant bush.
The Ghost Catcher. In a deserted part of a garden, there is a large red currant bush. In that bush lives the kind and pedantic inventor snail Tiffel-Toffel. To be pedantic means that you are a very tidy and clean creature. This is, of course, troublesome for a snail, as he always has a lot of work covering up his trail after him. Because he's definitely not a slimy snail. Tiffel-Toffel has two best friends, Cricket and Beetle. One day he invited them to an evening of storytelling, ghost stories no less. Tiffel-Toffel was really busy all day trying to create a spooky atmosphere. He made lanterns and paper ghosts, which he hung up. In the evening, when his friends stepped through the door, everything was really perfect for an evening of spooky storytelling. Tiffel-Toffel sat down in his armchair with a big book on his lap. Beetlebug and Cricket sat down in front of the fire in tense expectancy. Tiffel-Toffel started reading aloud from the book about spooky ghosts, magic witches, and a lot of other nasty things. Beetlebug and Cricket listened and thought that it was both exciting and a little creepy. When the story was finished, Tiffel-Toffel said reassuringly, "You don't have to be afraid because ghosts don't really exist." It was getting late and it was time for his friends to set off home. Just to be on the safe side, Beetlebug and Cricket looked out of the window before leaving to make sure there was nothing nasty out there. But what was that? Didn't they see a very real ghost out there? They shrunk back and said that they didn't dare to go out in the dark. But Tiffel-Toffel assured them that there was no danger, because ghosts, they just don't exist. "I will come with you and you'll see that there are no ghosts out there." He opened the door and was just about to step outside when he caught sight of something. Goodness gracious me! It actually looked like there was a monster out there after all. Tiffel-Toffel closed the door again. He pondered. This calls for a new invention. A ghost catcher. Cricket and Beetlebug looked perplexedly at each other, and then Cricket said, "But can you really build a thing like that?" "But of course," said Tiffel-Toffel, and then he disappeared into his invention workshop. In that room was Tiffel-Toffel's invention machine. It was a strange machine with lots of levers and lamps. You could start the machine by running inside a huge wheel. Step inside the wheel, my friends, and run like you are the fastest Cricket and Beetle in the world. Beetlebug and Cricket, who very much wanted to help their friend, curiously jumped up into the wheel and started running. At once the machine started jingling and blinking and the cogwheels went round and round at great speed. Cricket and Beetlebug were running like mad inside the wheel, while Tiffel-Toffel was pulling levers and pushing buttons. Suddenly the machine huffed and puffed, and out through a hatch on the invention machine came a box with a funnel and a big lamp on it. Cricket and Beetlebug thought it looked really peculiar and wondered if this thing would really be able to catch any ghosts. "Oh yes," said Tiffel-Toffel resolutely. And then he explained. When you start the machine, all ghosts and other horrible things will be sucked in through this funnel and get caught inside the hatch here. When the machine has caught all the ghosts, the lamp will light up. "Piece of cake," he said, and put the machine outside the front door. "Are you ready to catch some ghosts?" he said, and started the ghost catcher. Then he hurried into the hallway. All three of them stood there looking out the window at the ghost catcher. The ghost catcher started snorting and smoking and jumping around. It was blinking and playing music. It even launched some rockets through the funnel before it finally stopped and the lamp lit up. Cricket and Beetlebug looked at Tiffel-Toffel and said, "Has it caught all the ghosts now?" "Yes, indeed it has," said Tiffel-Toffel. "Now let's go outside and see how many ghosts I have caught." He was so excited that he even forgot to cover up his trail after him as he went outside. They walked up to the ghost catcher and looked cautiously in through the hatch. But inside there was nothing. Tiffel-Toffel was so disappointed, and he opened the hatch looking extra carefully inside. But the ghost catcher was completely empty. Tiffel-Toffel felt such a failure that he couldn't help crying a little bit. Oh, how could it all have gone so wrong? After all, he had invented the best ghost catcher the world had ever seen. And now it just stood there shining without having caught even the tiniest little horrible thing. That's when Cricket noticed that in the light from the lamp on the ghost catcher, you could see over to where the ghost had been, and what did they see? If not a white sheet hanging outside to dry. And where the monster had been, there was now a wheelbarrow filled with twigs instead. "Look!" exclaimed Cricket. "It was only the dark making us believe there were ghosts and monsters out there." Tiffel-Toffel stopped crying and said a little surly, "I did tell you there are no ghosts, and it stands to reason that my ghost catcher cannot catch any ghosts where there aren't any." "But," said Cricket, trying to comfort Tiffel-Toffel a little, "after all, it was your machine which made us discover that there were sheets and twigs and not ghosts. So I think it was the best invention an inventor can invent." "Yes, a ghost exposing machine," said Beetlebug. "Yes, I suppose so," said Tiffel-Toffel, who was now much happier. "It was just that sort of machine I invented." "Hooray for the world's best inventor," shouted Cricket and Beetlebug, who thought it was lovely that Tiffel-Toffel wasn't sad anymore. Now we can go home without being frightened when we know there aren't any ghosts, they said. Then Cricket and Beetlebug went home. Tiffel-Toffel was pleased where he stood watching his invention. Maybe it hadn't worked quite as he intended, but it didn't matter, because after all, it had got rid of the ghosts. Then he remembered that there must be a lot of trail marks inside the house to cover up, and soon it was time for bed, so he had better hurry up to do the tidying up. He didn't want to wake up in a dirty home tomorrow morning. No, really, that will not do, he said, and went inside and started sweeping up.